Evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. Our top focus at this hour. Just ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, a fresh controversy has erupted in Tamil Nadu. A newspaper advertisement by the DMK to claim credit for ISRO's launch pad has triggered political fireworks. This ad features Prime Minister Modi and Chief Minister Stalin and a picture of a rocket with China's flag on it. It is this picture which has now raised the hackles with the BJP. Leading the attack on the DMK was the Prime Minister, who said that in the race to claim credit, DMK ended up putting a picture of a Chinese rocket. The Prime Minister called it an insult of Indian scientists and accused the DMK of ignoring India's progress in the space sector.
DMK एक ऐसी पार्टी है जो काम तो करती नहीं लेकिन झूठा क्रेडिट लेने के लिए आगे रहती हैं। ये कौन नहीं जानता कि ये लोग हमारी स्कीम पर अपने स्टीपर चपका देते हैं। अब तो इन्होंने हद कर दी। इन्होंने तमिलनाडु में इसरो लॉन्च पैड का क्रेडिट लेने के लिए चीन का स्टिकर चिपका दिया है। भारत की प्रगति देखने को तैयार नहीं है, भारत के स्पेस की प्रगति देखने को तैयार नहीं है। और जो पैसे आप देते हैं, जो टैक्स तमिलनाडु के भाई बहन देते हैं, उन पैसों से उन्होंने एडवर्टाइजमेंट दिया और एडवर्टाइजमेंट दे करके उसमें भारत के स्पेस का चित्र नहीं रखा।
Tamil Nadu BJP Chief K. Annamalai has also lashed out at the Stalin government's ad, saying that it shows DMK's commitment towards China. He's also demanded an apology from the DMK.
A DMK minister gives us a paper ad with a Chinese rocket in the background with Chinese flag, a sitting DMK minister glorifying the whole thing. And Madam Kanimoli, who's a senior MP of that same area from Thoothukudi, she defends saying, what is wrong in having a Chinese picture? It is okay. They are not our enemy stand. Now DMK wants to prevent the second facility also here. DMK wants to stop the rocket launching facility from coming here. And for that, they are going any end to please their masters, whoso it is, I don't know. Now when the whole of India is celebrating that we are doing it the Indian way, we have the DMK people here glorifying China, glorifying Chinese people and glorifying their flag and everything. We expect a bare minimum apology from the DMK government and that minister.
Meanwhile, DMK MP Kanimoli had a shocking justification to offer for the newspaper ad that triggered this political war. She has said that China has not been declared an enemy country by the Modi government and accused the BJP of trying to divert attention from real issues.
I don't know what the person who did the artwork, where they found the picture from. And I don't think, India has declared China as an enemy country or anything, because I have seen that the Prime Minister has invited the Chinese Prime Minister and they've gone to, they've come to Mahabalipuram or anything. Just because you do not want to accept the truth, you're finding reasons to, divert the issue. That is it.
Allied Congress, meanwhile, sought to distance itself with the DMK ad, saying that it has been published by the DMK and questions should be asked of them.
Why should Congress reply? It's the DMK government who has done it. Why should it reply? So, trade deficit is more than $100 billion. So, what happens is the import of China is increasing day and night. And Prime Minister had said that to become self-sufficient, independence. But where is that? Then he should stop all import from China. That's, if he thinks that by doing this thing one can become an international, then of course by importing a Chinese item, then the central government or Mr. Modi is the biggest international.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us with us is Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Professor Madhav Nalapat is a Strategic Affairs Analyst. Joining us also is Dr. W. Selvamurthy. He is a former DG of DRDO and also President of Amity University. We have with us Harish Mohammad Ibrahim, political analyst. Dr. Pula Rao is a political analyst as well. Harish Mohammad Ibrahim, let me start first and foremost from what the Prime Minister said. He said that the DMK is in a rush to claim credit and has therefore put out this picture which has a Chinese rocket in it. It is an insult to the scientists of this country. Your response?
Yeah, first of all, the DMK is the only sole party which should claim the credit for this, because it was the then Chief Minister Dr. Kalanger's dream project for which it has been laid on the stone for today. And number one. And number two, Prime Minister Modi, when he can't speak about what are the real issues which is happening in his 10 years of tenure, he is going on bragging about the simple stuff which has been done by a so-called artist through some misinformation.
This is simple. Chinese rocket is simple according to you.
Number one. Wait 1 second. 1 second.
No, I'm just surprised that you're choosing to call this simple.
If Prime Minister Modi is so fond of our tricolor, he is going and wiping with the tricolor flag when he was attending a yoga function. He is not patriotic he doesn't have any iota of thing to preach the patriotism to fellow Indians or fellow DMK people. That is what I want to say.
Mr. Harish Mohammad Ibrahim, you have not answered my question.
Give me a second.
The Prime Minister said this is an insult of scientists.
Then do you agree, Prime Minister Modi? Then do you agree, Prime Minister Modi wiping off with the tricolor flag his face during a yoga function? Do you agree with that? No, right?
Sanju Verma.
The same.
Okay. You asked the question of the BJP. Let the BJP respond to you. You have not answered any of the questions in the meanwhile, Mr. Harish Mohammad Ibrahim. But since you have raised a question, Sanju Verma.
No, if you interrupt, then how could I answer?
I did not interrupt you.
Like this, then how could I answer?
Yeah, 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. Yeah. You made your points now. Let her respond. Yeah.
Mr. Ibrahim, I heard you. Thank you. First and foremost, Madhav, Kanni Modi is saying that we have not declared China an enemy nation. So what's the big deal? If the Chinese flag is there at the cone of one of the rockets on the advertisement. I want to remind Kanni Modi that first and foremost, don't try and conflate issues. What Prime Minister Modi does with his Chinese counterpart at the diplomatic level within the bounds of the global diaspora is not something that Kanni Modi even has the locus standi to comment upon. My second point is this. Right from Article 75 to Article 78 of the Constitution, I did not interrupt you. What is wrong with you?
Mr. Ibrahim, first of all, you have not answered the question. You asked a question, she is responding and you are again interrupting. Please allow the debate to take place. You will get a chance to rebut her. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Now stop getting rattled. The second point I'm making is this, Madhav. Right from Article 75 to Article 78 of the Indian Constitution, it says very clearly that the Chief Minister in the state is collectively responsible for what his cabinet ministers do or do not do. Now, the advertisement was put up by the Minister for Animal Husbandry in Tamil Nadu, a man called I.N.D.I.A. Radhakrishnan. And the said advertisement was approved by the Finance Minister of the M.K. Stalin government, a man called Thangam Thenarasu. I want to ask Mr. M.K. Stalin, by virtue of heading the cabinet, by virtue of being the chief minister, have you taken any action against Mr. Radhakrishnan, your animal husbandry minister who gave out those advertisements? Have you taken any action against your finance minister who approved the said advertisement? The answer is no. And what does Thoothukudi MP Kanni Modi do? She engages in classic whataboutery. By the way, I want to tell just in 10 seconds. When Atal Bihari Vajpayee demitted office in 2004, our trade deficit with China was $1.4 billion. When the Modi government took charge in May 2014 from the Congress, the trade deficit was $38 billion, which is a 2,614% jump. At this stage, our trade deficit with China is only $73 billion. which means in the last 10 years, it has grown by only 92% vis-a-vis the 2,600% jump, which we saw under the aegis of Sonia Gandhi's kitchen cabinet.
All right. Let me bring in some of the other panelists on this also. Dr. Pula Rao, can in any way the justification be that A, it is not an enemy country, and B, this is a clear insult of our scientists, is what the Prime Minister is saying, because end of the day, we all as Indians love and respect ISRO for the achievements they have done, most recent of which is actually becoming one of the few nations to have landed on the moon. For an organization like that, how can you even think of having the Chinese flag?
You see, I'm sure you read Kanimoji's first part of her statement. She said, I don't know who the printer is. How did they print this? It's a mistake. She said it. Beyond that, to raise this to the level of distracting the entire space program, I don't think it was very fortunate, or it was very successful. The entire space program, which Prime Minister correctly has praised, has now become centered on one ad. I don't think Indian space program is so brittle that it just breaks because of this. Kanimoji has said, I don't know who the printer is.
No, definitely not brittle. Definitely not brittle.
What's this called?
No, Mr. Pula Rao, definitely not brittle. But the question that many are asking is that why insult the entire space scientists with this kind of imagery even? Because it's unthinkable. You can blame the printer, you can blame the ad agency, but if there is an ad that has been commissioned by a DMK official, then surely the party has to take responsibility.
No, they did it. Exactly. It was poorly supervised. She admitted it. And the matter should have been laid to rest. Instead of making it seem an act of... It should have been made to rest. She has said so. She has said it was a mistake. You can't fire her for that. She is a mistake. She said it. The matter should have been left there.
No, but she says... No, it would have been fine if she had left it there, but she says it's not being declared as an enemy nation. That becomes extremely problematic. Let me bring in Professor Nalapat on that. Professor Nalapat, should the matter, is it being blown out of proportion as Mr. Pula Rao suggests? Because he said it's a mistake, it's been admitted, let's move on.
Look, the fact of the matter is that the ISRO scientists have done a magnificent job. And I'd like to, basically, all of us should basically be very thankful to our ISRO scientists for having done such an excellent job, including in protecting ourselves from certain countries who have been threatening us and who have been trying to create issues on the border. I want to say very clearly, and I think my friend in the DMK will also agree, when you are a cabinet minister and when you run an ad, you have to be very careful and double check and triple check. Dr. Pula Rao may not think it's a very important matter that you really do not need to check anything. But the fact of the matter is that this kind of an ad in which of all countries, a rocket belonging to China, of all countries, was substituted for a rocket of ISRO. And we have all seen ISRO rockets. I mean, we know the tricolor is very proudly painted there, including what happened in the moon. So I would like to say that to just pass it off as an ordinary mistake, when a cabinet minister takes an ad, it is an important decision. Now, tomorrow, if a cabinet minister takes up a decision that is very harmful to people of state, are you going to pass it off as an ordinary mistake? People make mistakes, or some junior official gave me the responsibility is definitely the cabinet minister, and I feel Chief Minister Stalin has to publicly pull up this minister for putting this kind of ad. There can be no justification whatsoever. And may I say that all of us know which country is now creating aggressive moves on the frontier. Which country has been doing a lot of hostile activities against India? We know the name of that country. And in that country's flag is there on a rocket, obviously a Chinese rocket. Then, frankly, in my view, it's a matter which shows the complete neglect of official oversight responsibility down the chain of command in Tamil Nadu. It's not a good sign for the people of Tamil Nadu to have ministers who are so careless about something as important as an ad, which is going to go completely public and viral. It's completely unforgivable. And in my view, I do not believe there's any justification for it.
Well, Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, I want to bring you in on one point that you are making, and I agree with you to an extent. It's a big moment for India. India's today entered a unique club of countries which have 2 spaceports, and that is certainly a big deal. But even at a time like this, should the due care not have been taken? Should the government minister or the department concerned not have double-checked, triple-checked and ensured that there is an error-free ad at a time like this? Because this is a controversy that could have very easily been avoided.
Exactly.
Sir, Mr. Narendra Modi have featured in an entire national daily with a Paytm ad, and now the Paytm has been falling. Whether he is going to step down?
So do you question the government on that? Opposition has questioned the government on that also, sir.
China incursion, whether PM Modi have taken any issue? Whether Mr. Modi have taken anything after 50 kilometers of the Arunachal Pradesh territory has been forwarded to China.
I will not allow this.
Two wrongs will not make a right, sir. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Whether he is going to apologize for that, you guys doesn't have anything realistic to speak. You doesn't have anything realistic to speak, and you come and take a printer who's been doing a mischief, and you are coming and speaking in a national television. Are you guys are not ashamed to speak when India has been facing an unemployment as the worst crisis? Don't you have any other realistic issue to speak on a national television?
Okay. Sanju Verma, just one second. You know why this is according to him. This is according to him a non-issue. Let's one second. You are entitled to your views. You're a politician. Let me bring in the only scientist on the panel, Dr. Selvamurthy, and I want Dr. Selvamurthy to come in one by one, Sanju Verma. Let Dr. Selvamurthy come in now. Dr. Selvamurthy, is this a non-issue, as Mr. Ibrahim wants us to believe? Has this been blown out of proportion? Or do you feel, as a scientist who has worked for the country, that this shows a complete lack of sensitivity, if not callousness?
Mr. Madhav, today is actually a happy occasion of a National Science Day, which is being celebrated across the country. And also, Honorable Prime Minister is dedicating a second launch pad for the country. In fact, the first pad, the launch pad, which is now in Sriharikota, Satish Dhawan Center, should have come to Tamil Nadu, which was last. And they're also now in the second launch pad when it is coming up. Instead of celebrating the successes of the Indian Space Research Organization, Indian scientists like me who have contributed to the DRDO, and I hail incidentally from Tamil Nadu, I feel so ashamed that such a kind of government is now in power, and then they are demotivating the scientists, the scientific community, which is now receiving a new impetus from this present government, and the National Research Foundation, and all the changes, science, technology, innovation policies, very innovative policies which is propelling Indian science and technology, particularly space science. We have got a new impetus, and it is criminal, antisocial, and also it should be...
Please allow the scientist to speak. Mr. Ibrahim, don't interrupt like this. This is not only rude, this shows that you are nervous. Please let him speak. He's the only scientist on the panel.
So this is actually is a very immature way of doing it, and I will call it as antisocial and criminal act to put in an ad where Prime Minister is laying the foundation stone for such a major facility, and putting a flag of Chinese and the spacecraft and with a Chinese flag is in fact very, very humiliating to the scientists, and they should apologize to the scientists as well, not only to the political system. All the scientific community are disturbed by this. And see, the Space Research Organization today has achieved so much.
Right.
You know, launch vehicle, the satellites, and the lunar missions, the Mars orbital mission, soft landing on the moon. These are all great achievements with minimal input. When the country is celebrating the successes, this kind of act by a government, a state government, is really very, very hurting, humiliating.
Dr. Pullarao, what would you like to tell? What would you like to tell Dr. Selvamurthy
on the day, the National Science Day?
Yeah. Dr. Selvamurthy, just one second. Let me just bring in the other view. Dr. Pullarao, what would you like to tell Mr. Selvamurthy? He also hails from Tamil Nadu. He says he is today ashamed of this kind of an ad. And he is not somebody who is unaware of the scientific world. He has served as the DG of DRDO. He's very much aware, and he says this is clearly an insult to our scientific community, which has achieved so much.
In fact, I have worked with Dr. Kalam, Abdul Kalam, for more than 25 years together, who is a space scientist and defense scientist.
Let me respect him.
Right. Dr. Pullara.
Let me respect him. This was not planned. It was an accident. It was an error. If a space program, if a rocket crashes to the ground, do we blame the scientists or somebody did a faulty work? You just move on. This is not such a big thing. They meant no insult. Some printer did it. There was lax supervision.
So lax supervision, sir, there are acts of omission and acts of commission.
That they gave the ad.
Both are serious, sir.
It was to honor it. It was to honor the space program that they gave the ad. The intention was very good, and you shouldn't pick out all these mistakes and try to translate it into something which is not.
Okay.
Why did they give the ad? They gave the ad to praise and celebrate space work by our scientists.
Okay.
It can't be turned topsy-turvy and say this is that, this is that. The intention was very good. We should let it pass.
Okay, the intention was correct. Sanju Verma, respond to this. We should let it pass. Please respond to Mr. Pullara.
Madhav, first and foremost, today we are actually celebrating National Science Day. And imagine, on a day that we should be celebrating the achievements of our scientists, we are actually belittling the contribution by ISRO, by DRDO, by Hindustan Aeronautics, because don't forget DRDO, Hindustan Aeronautics and ISRO are the three agencies which will ensure that our manned Gaganyaan mission is a completely indigenous one, right from the aircraft to the systems used to the technology used. This is an ode to the technological finesse of our scientists and what the human mind can achieve, especially when it comes to the Indian scientific community. My most important point is this, Madhav. Mr. Ibrahim, he said that, Narendra Modi is not patriotic. Kanni Modi is giving patriotism certificates to Narendra Modi. This is the same Narendra Modi, due to his conviction, his willpower. After 30 years, in January 2022, for the first time, the Indian tricolor was hoisted fearlessly at the Lal Chowk in Srinagar. This is the same Narendra Modi who started the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign, due to which 20 crore Indian households hoisted the Tiranga atop their rooftops. This is the same Narendra Modi, due to whose willpower, in the presence of 38 Adhinams from Tamil Nadu, we placed the Sengal next to the Lok Sabha Speaker's chair. The Sengal had been reduced to an obscure corner in an obscure museum by Pandit Nehru. And this is the same Narendra Modi who ensured that the insignia of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is there on INS Virat. And this is the same Narendra Modi who replaced Henry Francis Light's Abide With Me, which is the song that is played at the retreat ceremony with Lata Mangeshkar's Mere Watan Ke Logo. And this is the same Narendra Modi who replaced the word Rajpath with Kartavya Path. And this is the same Narendra Modi who changed the name of 7 Racecourse Road to Lok Kalyan Marg. So Narendra Modi does not need lessons in patriotism from DMK or the Congress. By the way, Rahul Gandhi of the Congress went to Cambridge and said, why are the European Union and the United States oblivious to the fact that democracy is coming undone in India, indirectly asking for foreign powers to interfere in our internal matters? So please don't sit here and give us a bhashan on nationalism. DMK or Mr. Ibrahim, you have no locus standi to lecture the BJP or Prime Minister Modi for that matter.
All right. Let me quickly bring in Harish Mohammed Ibrahim. Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, there's also, there's a context to what this entire debate is. And the context is this. The context is that it's not the first time, the BJP says, where DMK has tried to embrace Chinese affiliation. In the year 2021, a section of prominent left leaders and a DMK parliamentarian, S. Senthil Kumar, virtually celebrated 100 years of the Chinese Communist Party in Delhi. Is there a reason why the DMK has a soft corner towards China, as being asked by the BJP?
Sir, then why Prime Minister called upon the Chinese president and had a chip of coffee in Mahabalipuram? Why he invited first place? If he is such an antagonist with the Chinese parties or communist parties, why he has
has to call in first place. And number two, for the BJP spokesperson who is on the panel, the same Narendra Modi who wiped out the tricolor with his face. And number two, the same Narendra Modi who is now preaching the patriotism, who's go ahead and did the Pulwama. You keep shut, ma'am. I haven't interrupted you. The same Narendra Modi, after martyrs of Pulwama attack, he went to the constitution and seek the vote in favor of Pulwama martyrs. Who the hell are you?
No personal commentary. No, Mr. Ibrahim, no, Mr. Ibrahim, control your language. You cannot make personal comments. You cannot make personal comments one by one. No personal commentary. No personal commentary. I am not going to allow anybody to make any personal comments. This is not at all acceptable. I'm going to lower all faders now and let me bring in Professor Nalapat. Professor Nalapat, question coming in from the DMK supporter, Mr. Ibrahim, is that if that is indeed the case, why was the Prime Minister engaging with the Chinese Prime Minister in Mahabalipuram?
Look, the fact of the matter is that the Prime Minister went the extra mile to try and ensure that the Chinese understand that it is a mistake to go against India. It is Xi Jinping who has become expansionist. He has basically tried to create ownership of the South China Sea. And he's, according to his version of one China, Arunachal belongs to China, Kashmir partly belongs to Pakistan and China, and tomorrow he may well say that some of Tamil Nadu also belongs to China because the man is in a very expansive mood. It is well known that they're aggressive. And I can tell you, who has not seen an ISRO rocket launch? I don't know if our DMK friend has ever witnessed an ISRO rocket launch. It is certainly an insult to a scientist to put a Chinese rocket, which is much inferior to an Indian rocket, and say, oh, we are celebrating this. You're celebrating something completely different. For heaven's sake, be adult and apologize. We all make mistakes. And this is if you say this is a mistake, I would only like to say it's a result of gross carelessness. But the fact is, be adult and apologize. Don't try and ignore the fact that what has happened is a very insulting act by a responsible party which has sworn allegiance. Chief Minister Stalin and the ministers have sworn allegiance to the Constitution of India. And the people of India, 1.4 billion, have a right to ask them why they're putting the ad of a rocket that, frankly, in several launch pads, I'm a strategic analyst, I've studied that, in about 18 launch pads, it is directed towards India, including towards Tamil Nadu. I cannot justify this kind of conduct, and anybody who tries to justify it is, frankly, either blind to the facts or as careless as the individuals who put this ad. And I mean, it is obvious to any artist, anybody, this is a Chinese flag, it's not an Indian flag. I mean, there is no excuse for this, unless somebody wanted to do it on purpose and just slipped it by. And the DMK said, all right, whoever it is, it's our friend, we'll run it. There is no excuse for this kind of policy. So let me tell you one thing. This any country, why China? Why not Ecuador? Why not Peru? Why not Colombia? Out of 213 countries, why was a Chinese flag put? Any number of flags could have been put. Statistically, what is the chance that you'll put the Chinese flag when you're putting a foreign flag? It's very low. So I frankly, it is an intolerable insult to scientists, and I bow in reverence to our scientists. I stand in complete agreement with my scientist friend, and I would request Dr. Pulla Reddy, in administration, let me tell you, the people pay dearly for mistakes. Please, Dr. Reddy, we have the people of Tamil Nadu have a right to expect that their governments will be careful where sensitive matters are concerned and not as careless as this has clearly been.
Dr. Pulla Rao.
Yes, I think it is very well, we can accept it. It was photoshopped by the printer. He put it there. Nobody checked it. Why, as I say, the intention was very good. I heard what Professor Nalapat said. I don't disregard what he says. But the end of the day is, the intention was very good. Why should they spend so much money and give these ads unless they went to do a laudatory reference? And now to reduce it to this is not correct. I think the entire solemn occasion, solemn subject.
Dr. Pulla Rao, if the BJP made a similar mistake, would the Congress and DMK not make it an issue, sir?
For a party,
if a BJP government made a similar mistake, would the Congress and the DMK not make it an issue according to you?
She has already. If you make it an issue, if you make it an issue, it becomes an issue. If you say, yes, it was a mistake by a printer.
So what is the action that has been taken? And who has acknowledged the mistake from the government side?
No, they will probably fire the printer. That's all. There is no ban.
And nobody in the government.
Ads.
Dr. Rao.
You know, there are certain bans.
All right, Dr. Rao. All right, Dr. Rao. We'll have to leave it there. Sanju Verma, Professor Nalapat, Dr. Selvamurthy, Harish Mohammed Ibrahim, Dr. Pulla Rao. Certainly, of course, an entirely avoidable controversy. There's no two ways about that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to an organization such as ISRO, which evokes such strong emotions here in India, there are certainly going to be questions that would be asked in this particular case. But thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening.